Welcome everyone in this community event for Destination Earth. I see Peter here. Hello, Peter. Welcome. I see Figenia here. I see Theoclis, also Alexis. I want to welcome everyone who is watching to this event where we share with the community the three winning proposals for the second DestinE Platform Innovation Prize. How this is going to work, I'm just going to give a short review of the challenge, and then we're going to pass over to the three winners to have a short presentation of their proposals before opening up a short section of this event where we discuss the proposals a bit, and then opening up to the audience for responding to a few questions we have prepared. So this challenge was all about being inspired from stories from the year 2050 and imagining a preferred future based on the capabilities of Destination Earth and the platform that is already available, and by that time will be very available and very populated with services. So we asked individuals and teams to participate in this challenge and be inspired from stories from the year 2050 that have been published in the publications I'm sharing with you. And a lot of interesting things came back from these proposals. So the challenge started on the 20th of March. The proposals were delivered around a month later. And today we are here to celebrate the winning proposals and, of course, to thank everyone who participated, even if they didn't reach at this stage. And we will be hearing 10-minute presentations by each representative of each winning team. And we will then have a short interaction between us and with the community, all of you who are watching. The judging happened based on the social impact of the proposals, the environmental impact, the novelty of what was proposed, the feasibility and how fit these proposals were to the vision of Destination Earth, as well as the mock-up. Now, our judges were Daniele Pushmail representing EUMETSAT, Jörn Hoffman from representing ECMWF, and Alexis Longuet, who is with us today, from CERCO, representing ESA in this challenge. We had more than 44 individuals being involved in the proposals that we received, and they came from all parts of our user base. We had proposals from research and academia. We had proposals from the private sector and also general public. So we're very happy to have this wide range of people, individuals, and interesting areas of interest where they came in touch with the challenge. And actually, as the challenge was published far and wide, even teams from Australia wanted to participate. However, that wasn't in the scope, and these weren't eligible to be part. Maybe we should think of something further ahead that could be have even wider eligibility, but that's up for discussing. So we had three prizes. All right, we had three prizes. The first prize was the most promising proposal. This went to a proposal that was very promising and viable and visionary, and the judges thought that we could see it coming to life even tomorrow. Maybe discussing uncharted challenges and showcasing the potential of the platform, Destination Earth platform. The second prize was that of radical realities. Here when I say we, I mean the judges, recognized the profound impact of these proposals and found a powerful vision within the proposal that eventually came to the winning stage that could transform our future. Third and last prize was that of the BlueSky Concept, where here the proposal that came to the winning stage has been a groundbreaking idea that really pushes the limits of our imagination and has a profound impact and is quite creative. So to all our audience, this was not a challenge to find solutions. This was more of a challenge to let our imagination roll, find possibly new questions after seeing these proposals. So I invite you all, as these proposals are presented to you, maybe you take some initial notes of what they bring to mind, what more opportunities they open up, and how you might see them coming to life. And that's the kind of interaction we'd like to have in the end through Slido, through the Slido platform. So all three winning teams, they all receive a 1-hour online tour of Destination Earth platform, reminding you that the platform is already live since more than a week ago. They all receive a 30-minute online session to discuss with a Destination Earth application expert, discuss their proposals, and then have a much more in-depth and possibly meaningful interaction with people who are actually building the platform. And one member of each team will be able to visit ESRIN, visit the FEE experience in September, and have an extra real experience in ESRIN. So I think I've said enough, and now I'd like to present who was the team winning the most promising proposal. The proposal was named DD Plus. The representative of this team is Ifigenia Keramitsoglu, and her team involving the National Observatory of Athens and colleagues from university have won this award. So I'd really like to congratulate Ifigenia. I see you. Then Radical Realities goes to the project called Twin Sphere by Theoklis Fridas. He's a student from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. You'll get to hear Theoklis shortly present the proposal. And last but not least, the BlueSky concept goes to Henry the Tweaker and Peter Calverla and Jesus Garcia Gonzalez from the Netherlands eScience Center. Congratulations to Peter as well. So I know this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I know that I've been waiting for this moment quite a long time. It's the moment where I'm gonna invite you all to enter the platform, the future of the platform, and one by one. Ifigenia, I will start with you. If you want to start sharing your screen and mesmerize us with a proposal. So we'll have this. We'll start with Ifigenia. We'll go to Theoklis and close with Peter.
Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, your screen, full screen. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Kostas. So welcome, everyone. Today, we are really excited to introduce DD Plus, our innovative approach to making cities resilient against extreme heat waves. This project has won the Most Promising Proposal Award, and I'm here to share how it can transform urban environments. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the judges for this award and their recognition of our vision. So what is it about? DD Plus leverages digital twin technology provided by Destination Earth to integrate emergency services natural-based solutions and community engagement, transforming urban centers into resilient havens against extreme heat. It enhances emergency responses, improves urban ecosystems, and empowers vulnerable populations, fostering a sustainable, safe, and inclusive city environment ready for the challenges of 2050. We were inspired by a story that we call it the longest summer. So because this should not be also the longest presentation in this event, we have a short version of it. So let's imagine a city in 2050 gripped by a relentless heat wave where the temperatures soar to 50 degrees. This story follows a family navigating through this extreme scenario, highlighting the critical need for innovative solutions like DestinE Plus. We were warned, they say, a simple yet profound statement to the ignored pleas of scientists and experts who saw the catastrophe coming. Their car, a vessel of escape to a climate shelter, traverses a landscape divided between starkly contrasting futures. As the family navigates to their shelter, they discover DestinE Plus, a digital twin that vividly shows the impact of their urban choices. The system uses advanced AI and augmented reality to project a simulation on their windshield. So one half shows the dire future if they continue towards gray urban sprawl, while the other half illustrates the thriving, cool life with green-blue infrastructure. Initially skeptical, the family becomes fascinated by the real-time guidance provided by DestinE Plus, highlighting the stark contrast and helping them make informed decisions. The family then makes a decisive turn. They alter their route, aligning with the green-blue vision, a choice that resonates with others also influenced by DestinE Plus simulations. As they arrive at the climate shelter, they find it to be a place of innovation and inspiration where the principles demonstrated in DestinE Plus are being brought to life. Going now from this imagination to reality, DestinE Plus wants to offer dual timescale solutions. We're talking about a long-term urban planning and a next-day heatwave management tool. So 2 timescales, one is the long-term, the other is the next day. Again, we're talking about heatwave management. It supports multiple stakeholders, enhancing emergency response, improving urban ecosystems, and empowering vulnerable populations. Regarding the technical implementation, DestinE offers is supported by Carmine project. It uses machine learning to predict heat-related mortality and integrates diverse urban data. On the right, you see the DestinE as it is now being implemented within the framework of Carmine project. So in order to build the AI platform, we are using climate models, reanalysis data, Copernicus C3S, demography data, and the other side, because this is our X for the AI development, and the Y is the daily mortality. So using this past data, we are training the model, and the rest of the data, we are using them for evaluating the model. Once the DestinE model is built, then we will be using real-time weather forecasts and also climate models at high resolution, high spatial resolution, that are being developed by our partners from the Academy of Athens, together with Copernicus C3S, demographic data, socioeconomic data, and different policies, to feed the model and then get as an output what the impact will be. At the same time, within the project, we are developing nature-based solutions, and we are also now forming a living lab. The first one is going to be in Athens metropolitan area, and after this has progressed, we will scale it to Prague. We will also have socioeconomic and policy measures, and all these will be taken into consideration in DT-HIT to play around with different scenarios. So the outcome will be, again, this is during the heat season, this is like real-time categorization of a heat wave, and at the other side, the long-term urban planning, where we have the projection of mortalities in the future based on the different scenarios that we have. Now, you may ask, why did we submit to the challenge? So in submitting this proposal for the Innovation Prize, our team is committed to expanding upon the initial concept by incorporating additional features designed to broaden the spectrum of stakeholders who stand to gain from this initiative. We want to align our efforts with Destination Earth's flagship initiative, aiming to amplify the impact and facilitate the scaling up of our approach. So by integrating these new elements that are given in the proposal, we want to enhance the current implementation with forward-looking perspective and innovation that will be delivered by Destination Earth. So we want to demonstrate a holistic and dynamic understanding of the issue of extreme heat, showcasing our commitment to driving meaningful change and fostering a sustainable and resilient future. Regarding stakeholders, our stakeholders range from local governments and the urban planners to emergency services and NGOs. DT-HIT Plus provides tools and insights that benefit everyone involved in making cities resilient to extreme heat. The benefits are both environmental and human. So for the environment, we have a reduced urban heat island effect, increased biodiversity, and strengthened urban ecosystems through the nature-based solutions. And for people, the benefit, of course, is the enhanced safety during heat waves, improved health outcomes, and increased accessibility to green, cool spaces for recreation and relief. I'm going to share with you some mock-ups. So this is the mock-up for urban planners who would be able to design the city in the future with nature-based solutions and solid background knowledge of the impact that each solution is going to have on heat, on the urban heat island effect, and of course, to mortality due to heat, increase in biodiversity, and more. And here is another mock-up for emergency services. So this is the visualization of emergency vehicles. This is the ambulance fleet management. So we want to optimize the ambulance fleet management during heat waves, ensuring that the resources are allocated where they are needed most. And this map shows what a real-time service temperature would look like together with the deployment of the emergency vehicles, the ambulances. We have also included gamification for children, thinking that teaching children how to stay safe during heat waves is actually very important for, gaining this knowledge that there is a risk when there is extreme heat. So maybe children can play around with selecting appropriate clothing and learning about heat safety. So then they can earn points and, points and stay connected. So, and here is my last slide. I would like to stress, as Costa said at the beginning, that this is a team effort. So please meet the dedicated team behind DT-HIT Plus. Our experts are from various fields and various organizations They are partners or collaborators of Carmine project, and we are all working together to bring this innovative solution to life, ensuring that we address somehow the multi-faceted challenges of extreme heat. And here is my contact details. You can scan the QR code, and this will give you all my contact details and links to LinkedIn. You can, for more information, I'm here. If you want to get involved, please let us know. Let's work together to make our cities more resilient and sustainable, making use of this amazing technology that Destination Earth is bringing to life. Again, thank you for the award. And we are looking forward to meet the team behind Destination Earth in person. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, Eugenia, for sharing. Congratulations, of course. And maybe I'd like to invite Alexis, who was one of the judges,
Sure.
if he wants to share a couple of thoughts on the
Sure.
proposal.
First of all, Eugenia, congratulations to you and your team. It was really nice to look forward in a few years' time and looking through your proposal. You've been selected as most promising proposal in this innovation challenge for a few reasons, among which the high credibility of the proposal you've put together. We feel that there is a strong team behind and a strong background, but also a nice and compelling storytelling at the beginning. So congratulations for bridging these two worlds. It's not always easy to be very pragmatic scientifically, but bring some storytelling. So congratulations on that. That's also one point of the DestinE platform in particular, which is to talk to everyone and give access to very complex technologies to the biggest number of users. So high feasibility and credibility, high impact, and very much aligned with the DestinE objectives. And that was key for you to be the most promising proposal. One thing we regretted was a bit the setback of your proposal. If I have to share something negative, is that it was in the 2050. Meanwhile, we really believe it's solutions that we need way before that. So we are looking forward the completion of your current project and seeing together all these kind of applications could be developed and accessible to the greatest number in a few years' time instead of a few decades. So really congratulations, Iphigenia.
Thank you very much, Alex, for all the positive comments. We really take this very much into consideration. Just a very quick comment that within Carmine project, we have a specific task to be aligned with Destination Earth. So we really want to work with the team behind Destination Earth and bring this into life so much sooner than 2050. So thank you for your comment.
Perfect. Looking forward to your prize then, where we'll have the occasion to exchange.
Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alexis. I think now it's time for Eteocles. Eteocles?
Hello. Thank you for the turn. Let me start sharing my screen.
Yes, please.
Is it all visible?
Yes, if you can just go full screen.
Give me a second. Wait. This, okay. Right, so let me go this up.
Yeah.
My name is Eteocles Fridas. I come from Thessaloniki, Greece, and I'm a student at Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. I'm currently studying biology. And TwinSphere was the proposal that I made from scratch. And it really constitutes an entire vision of what the digital twin will actually look like and function. So, well, let me proceed with my first slide. The way I envision the digital twin, it has two aspects. One related to simulating certain conditions and future scenarios, and one related to monitoring. Specifically, the simulation aspect will allow scientists and decision makers to alter the temperature, car usage, and certain aspects of human activity, but also natural activity, in order to view how it will impact ecosystems and generally the Earth system. This way, they will be able to assess the next steps in order to combat climate change. The second aspect is more related to natural disasters and specifically in their prevention. Using it, the aforementioned people will be able to view which areas are perhaps in need of aid and are in risk of natural disasters in order to allocate their resources proportionally to help with natural disasters. So in order to preserve an ergonomic and easy to understand model, I have chosen to base it on text-based AI in order to not only simulate but also monitor. So this is a very basic overview of the twin-sphere model. It will alright, so it constitutes a world map that displays, well, pretty much every single continent, and a very basic text chat through which the user will be able to ask and really interact with the digital twin in order to pretty much ask it for information. As a certain viewer pointed out, it is almost as if the user is interacting with the Earth itself, kind of like a conversation. So here we have an example of the text chat. So for example, the user could ask the digital twin to decrease industrial activity of Norway, for example, which is a nation known for its high industrial activity, by 15%. Then the AI would actually use information such as what kind of industrial activity Norway uses, how they produce their energy. For example, Norway is known for exporting oil, which means that they have quite a large ecological footprint. So taking into account all of these measures, twin-sphere would be able to accurately calculate the impact that such a change would have. And another example is perhaps a change in temperature, a 1 degree Celsius increase in global temperature. So twin-sphere would then access animal databases in order to figure out the appropriate conditions for the survival of certain species, and then it will be able to actually figure out what would happen if and give the user quite an overview of which species would perhaps go extinct or be in high risk. And then, of course, as you can see, this is quite a very basic information. So the user would also be able to continue asking questions for more specific information. And now have a more advanced overview of the previous world map that I've shown you. This is the text, and for example, on top of text warnings regarding what would happen and the impact of certain parameters that change, the AI would also provide visual warnings. For example, we have the same examples as the previous slide, and we can see that it has basically highlighted Australia because such an increase in temperature would destroy coral reefs in the area. Then it has also highlighted Greenland, since the aforementioned increase in temperature would cause large amounts of ice to melt. So simply put it, it would also display visual warnings. Next, we have to talk about the databases from which the model would access its information. So when it comes to weather phenomena and how the temperature would impact, well, natural disasters and everything, a very basic database and quite an important one would be the one provided by EUMETSAT, and specifically the data lake. but it would also access national databases such as HNMS, which is the National Greek Weather Service database. Now, we come to the monitoring aspect, which, as I mentioned before, will be able to show to decision makers and perhaps also normal citizens a map overview, and allow them to see which areas are at risks and what kind of resources are available in order to help. So, as we can see, it will show information such as the ozone layer, adoption units, rescue capability, extreme weather scenarios, and as I mentioned before, it will allow for better allocation of resources. A visual overview can be seen here. So, as mentioned previously, it will also be a map, but this time, since it is quite more local and it really affects local governments, it will be limited to perhaps certain regions. So, for example, here we have the Balkans, and it's centered on Greece. Again, it follows the AI text model. So, for example, TwinSphere AI is currently showing Greece. It shows the emissions per year, the ozone layer above Greece, the temperature, and then it also displays some general information regarding energy sources. But also, the most important part is the weather risk report. So, for example, it shows that at that exact moment, which is just an example, there is severe flooding at Kalahori, a region near Thessaloniki, while also a snowstorm at Smolikas. So, on top of displaying those warnings, which is something quite basic, what I tried to think of to make it stand out was perhaps, in order to allow for a better response to those natural disasters, the monitoring aspect will also display the rescue capability. So local governments would, on a regular basis, update the personnel they have, the vehicles they have, for example, air rescue capability, snowmobiles, that would allow them to conduct a rescue effort in case of an emergency. That way, using the monitoring aspect of TwinSphere, not only will we be able to perhaps view future scenarios regarding climate change, how species will be affected, but we'll also be able to quite quickly figure out which areas are at risk of natural disasters. So, for example, what I just mentioned, you can see snowstorm Smolikas, high danger risk, rescue assessment, no airlift capability. Smolikas is a mountain top, so that is a must. Snowmobiles available, 30 personnel. And for example, one local official could view this, realize that there is needed airlift, and perhaps allocate the region's resources to purchase such resources. Now, TwinSphere aims to be a tool in order to really help scientists and politicians view the future. It is not something currently maintainable and something that can currently be implemented, but the whole point is to allow for decision makers to make the correct choices and have an immediate way to assess the impact. So in order to avoid guessing and making the necessary changes with certain treaties and such, they will be able to immediately, using this advanced AI, figure out, for example, if they were to perhaps change half of the cars in the UK, or let's say in France, to electric cars, how would that affect the ozone layer and generally the climate? And they wouldn't really have to experiment and guess. They would have an instant assessment of how their actions and political decisions would affect and create solutions. So one important thing that I would like to tone is that this TwinSphere AI uses AI as a tool. It is not something that will substitute human human interaction and human activity, but it will be simply something that humans will use for their advantage. And with that, we come to the end of my presentation. I've generated here an image using AI, which fits the theme of perhaps a visionary and utopic vision of the future. And I think that TwinSphere, when and if it becomes a reality, could provide quite big help to creating such a future. Thank you for your attention, and I would now be open to questions.
Thank you, Diocles, for sharing your proposals. Congratulations. And maybe I'd like to invite Alexis to share a few comments from the judging panel.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, congratulations, Diocles. The proposal was very interesting to read through. It's a window on what the next step of destinationers could be. I related a bit to the current invitation on ECMWF, who has opened a new tender for the development of large language model AI chatbot in relation with DestinE. I will share the link in the chat for those who are interested. Enabling the interaction with digital twins, simulating human impact, human activity, and having the ability to interact was really in line with the DestinE objectives. It empowers also citizens to be able to understand and easily interact with large, complex scientific models. So really congratulations on this. It's related very well on the DestinE next phase also, having many Earth system components within one single tool, providing evidence-based insights and not bringing all the complexity of the data, but based on scientific data, was really appreciated. And I would add, now that I've seen your presentation and your face as well, that it's very exciting to have young professionals working on Destination Earth, tackling climate change and using the latest technologies and tools in order to come at this challenge and really try to make an impact. So congratulations, Etocles.
Thank you, Mr. Alexis.
Great. Thank you, Alexis. Congratulations again, Theocles. Maybe we can move on to the last presentations by Peter. Peter, if you're ready to share your screen, we're looking forward.
Yes. Should be coming up now.
Yep.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, first of all, also from my side, thank you very much for this award and the opportunity to present it here. So the story I proposed is called Henry the City Tweaker. And it's actually, maybe it deviates a little bit from what the vision of the challenge was, because I didn't pick one of these stories set in 2050 and then think about that one, but I just came up with my own story set in 2050. And I am going to try to give you a quick overview of it. So let's start. And I should start with a couple of prologue comments, setting the scene for Henry to go on his journey. So the first ingredient that we need in order to understand the story is this newspaper. And since this is the BlueSky Concept Prize, it is based in science and things that are actually happening in society, but we extrapolate them a little bit so we can imagine that this will become a reality in the future, but it's not necessarily a reality today already. So we're already seeing that the economy is changing, and scientists and economists are proposing alternative ways to think of the economy, to make it more inclusive of nature and of social things, etc. And if you extrapolate this into the future, I think it is fair to say we can imagine that at some point we can have the market work for nature instead of, as it currently does, against it, for example. That means that if you would make changes to the environment that would be beneficial for nature and for the climate and for society, those could also be profitable at the same time. that will be great. So that's one important ingredient we need. The second ingredient is city builders. So we have seen over the past years or even decades, popularity of sandbox games, starting with The Sims and SimCity, and there's also Flight Simulator, etc. And this is a screenshot of City Skylines. And that's a game in which you can build your own city, and underneath it runs a simulation of the economy. And it has a really nice user interface because, of course, it's a game, so it needs to be engaging. And I think that's something that we need to find a middle ground, right? Games like these are very good at providing a super good user experience, but their simulations are not entirely accurate. And on the other hand, we have platforms like Destination Earth that run very accurate simulations of the Earth, but they, at the moment, don't have such an engaging user interface. And the idea is that we are bringing this closer and closer together. Final ingredients is the return of the commons, and specifically through web technology. And I think this is something that we've seen over the past decades as well, right? We have had the rise of the internet, and then we had Web 2.0, and now people are talking about Web 3.0. And one thing that it brings is that we have a new public space where people can engage, where people can share content, people can consume each other's content, people can interact, people can upload things they created. And we see this in social media, but also on many of these video and teaching platforms that you now have online. So there are platforms being invented where people can upload material. And in principle, this is public space. It's open to anyone. Everybody can create an account and start uploading things. But what you typically see is that some people become really specialized in this. So it's still a select group of people that will gain influence there. But this is the third big ingredient, and taking all of this together, we have the final setting the scene for our story, and that is the introduction of the Open Urban Planning Platform. And the idea of this platform is that it provides a game-like interface where people can play around and tinker with their own environment, their own city, their own neighborhoods, and they can propose changes. And the Destination Earth engine that underpins this platform will do a simulation of those changes, and it will provide feedback on the impact on the environment, on the social aspects of the economy, and also on the market, etc. And then these design proposals could be shared, they could be proposed, and people can engage around them. So they could upvote or downvote them, and they could show remarks. So that's where the platforms comes in. So what would that look like? A very quick impression that we made. The design interface could be like this. This is just a mock-up, right? So it could be very different, but we also thought about having this assisted design where you just talk to an AI. You don't need a very complex user interface with lots of buttons that you need to understand and navigate. Just talk to some AI assistant to help you play around with different design packs. And then at the bottom right, you would have this feedback on the economy, on the impact of your design proposal. And then, of course, you need to be able to share this and discuss it in one of these online content platforms, right? So that could look a little bit like this, where changes to, in this case, St. Peter's Square are proposed, and you can add a short description, and then below there would be discussion. And it could look a little bit like some other online content platforms that we have nowadays, right? Also a little bit like GitHub maybe, where you can really discuss the details of the proposal and fine-tune it until it's ready to be implemented. So that's what it could look like. And that's enough for setting the scene for Henry's journey. And that's actually the main story that I submitted. And Henry reads this in the newspaper and he's very excited. So he immediately starts playing around in his own neighborhood. And he comes up with this idea like, okay, we have this parking lot in our courtyard, and it's all stones. It's not really nature friendly, but perhaps we could turn that into a playground for children. and there would be lots of green, lots of grass, which would be better for infiltration, would be better for biodiversity, etc. And of course, it's also a space to engage, so it would also be good on the social aspect. So immediately the system would show that it has a very positive impact on all aspects of the economy. So Henry proposes these changes and gets lots of support from all the neighbors because they all have young families with children that like to play outside as well. So this is a big success. And after that, Henry is hooked and he's gaining more experience. So for example, he thinks, okay, now we have this parking lot or something similar, but perhaps below it, we could have a sand battery, which stores heat during the summer. And then during the winter season, heat is extracted again for housing or for heating all the houses neighboring the square. And he proposes this. And again, it's a success. And then people also start approaching him, right? So for example, he has an uncle that runs a farm and he wants to incorporate manure fermentation into the system. And he wants to assess whether that is actually something that's profitable, whether it's good for nature in the end, etc. So he helps his neighbor to build in. And as he gains experience in this way, more and more people start approaching him, and he's becoming a little bit of a local guru, what you would now see, for example, with influencers on social media. So he's becoming quite good at this, and people start approaching him also from a professional perspective. So there's, for example, crop breeders that want to, that they have invented a new species that's more resilient against diseases, and they want this species with all their characteristics added to the ecosystem simulations. And Henry can help them to implement this. Similarly, he can cooperate with festival organizers to do a simulation of noise barriers, of course, green noise barriers, to see whether that is actually effective and whether it would have a good impact on the environment as well. So lots of companies and professionals also start approaching him and even offering him jobs. But you may notice that some of these things, well, they might not be part of the design core packs that come with a platform, right? Some of them might need changes in order to make this possible to simulate this with the system. And that means that Henry at some point gains an insider status. And the way this could work is that by engaging more and more with the platform, creating more content, getting more engagement, you can gain privileges as well. This is also a model that's used already online, for example, also on Stack Overflow. This would allow him to propose also modifications to the underlying simulation, a little bit like pull requests or mod creators for games. And of course, people that have these kind of privileges are very high in demand, and companies start approaching them as well. But Henry always turns down these offers because he likes to do something else, and that's participating in hackathons. Those are organized by municipalities or by the Destination Earth service team, where they try to tackle challenges that go beyond, like, let's say, your local neighborhood. So, for example, implementing a simulation of local distribution networks, or implementing a true price concept for public services. And these are big events where multiple people come together to improve basically the underlying simulations and to make it more accurate in a way. Well, at some point, Henry really gets hooked by this system, right? And he thinks like, okay, but this is really interesting, but now I'm proposing some design changes here of my local neighborhood. And then I see that it has a positive or a negative impact on the environment or the social economy. But I don't quite understand how that's working. I mean, sometimes with the initial playground, that was easy, right? People would be happy about the green. There would be more insects and so on, more birds. So that was very clear why it had a positive impact. But this might not always be clear, especially if the simulation grows and there's non-local effects, etc. So he spends a lot of time trying to understand how design proposals and progress, as it measured by the economic simulation, propagates through this value change that he was working on. And he's developing an explainable AI module in order to understand this better and to provide this kind of insight. And at this point, he's becoming so much of an expert that towards the end of the story, he's being approached by people from the Destination Earth Immune program to be part of this program. Because obviously, when you have a system in place that is so influential in society, where people can propose changes and introduce local distribution networks, that means there will also be lobbyists, and there will be people with vested interest in the status quo that don't want these kind of changes. And that means the system is also vulnerable to sabotage. And that's why the immune system was invented as a sort of program to add security onto the platform. And at this point, Henry is such a specialist that he gains privileges and also responsibilities to keep the system safe from people with malicious interest. And that is a very quick overview of Henry's story. I will leave it at this for now. I also have some slides about the technical aspects, etc., but I won't bother you with that. I do want to say that this story is also available on our blog page. So if you are interested and want to read it again, maybe more slowly, you can find it at the eScience Center blog page. And now that I came up with this story, I'm also very motivated to work on making it come true, or at least making parts of it come true. So if you have any ideas about that, also feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to think further. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Peter. I'm sure people will reach out, and even a bit after now, we have a few short questions that might help to that direction. Alexis, would you like to share some?
Sure, I'll be very brief to leave some time to discussion, but we really love the concept overall. I think the three juries were really into it, maybe because two of us played this kind of game in the past. But the gamification is really something that is enabling citizens to empower themselves, being engaged into their community, make an impact, and that was very refreshing to have that perspective. Once again, you don't put forward all the science that is behind, all the efforts, manpower, and resources, computing resources that are behind, but it increased the accessibility of Destination Earth and making a concrete impact in local zones, in community neighborhoods. So that was really, really nice. And I'll stop here, but congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Great. So now is the moment where we'd like the audience to get engaged. We prepared a Slido presentation, not presentation, 3 questions on Slido. So if you can scan the QR code that's on your screen, the questions that are coming up are there to add to what we have already seen. So, for example, the first question we'd like the audience to answer: what new ideas and opportunities did these proposals bring to mind? I mean, we were exposed to radical proposals, radical parts in each proposal. Maybe something comes up into your mind. I mean, this is the moment where you kind of enter the conversation and you help Peter, Theocles, and Iphigenia develop their thinking, and help develop our thinking in regard to the Destination Earth platform. Maybe ideas on new applications, maybe ideas on new services. I mean, they don't have to be seamless interaction, futuristic. Okay. Diversity of teams. Okay. Interesting things coming ahead. Because, you know, the platform has already been launched, and we're all looking for more. We're all so used to this instant gratification, and this is a very big project, and it's not easy to go far. Already it's been a few years in the making, and you know, if you help us design holistic solutions, okay, that requires a very interesting, different kind of thinking and approach.
Costas, indeed, we are 10 days after the launch. We have already 19 services that are available on the platform, among which there are 3 that you can already explore as a public access, which are mini DEA, one that is close to a dashboard that is tourism digital twin from enumeration, and the last one that is VisLab. So don't hesitate to go on the platform and discover it, explore it.
And even from what I read here, these are ways to design services, right? These the input that you're sharing with us calls for a way of thinking for designing these services. Okay, I think that would be all for this citizen involvement. Yes, okay, there's one more person typing in. Maybe we give this person a bit of time. Before we move on to the second question, let's see. Okay, and the second question has to do with us approaching the unknown. This challenge was about the year 2050. Who knows how things are going to be then, right? But we do have this way of thinking forward and then coming back into today and trying to figure out our ways to our preferred future. All 3 proposals had this preferred future embedded in their mock-ups. What new what ifs come to mind? What areas of research would we as a community head towards and research based on these proposals? I mean, a few things come to mind. I mean, each proposal has its own barriers. What barriers do you deem would be there to overcome? What would be the biggest barriers? I mean, and that's a question I would have to ask to Peter as well, because your proposal had a very interesting approach into the social aspect of people need to think differently. No, how difficult do you believe that might be? I mean,
Yes, that is a very good question. It's indeed a very different mindset, and maybe for me it's a little bit easier to think about that because my daytime job is as a software engineer, and we do a lot of online collaboration where people can engage with proposals, and we are trying to do community collaboration there. But this is really difficult, and after writing the story, I was also thinking about this. And I think it should start small, right? It should start with very local pilot studies where you just open something up and give people an opportunity to engage and then learn from that. So I think indeed that it requires a lot of research, but also just by doing it. And maybe we need to do this soon because and not wait. I think we often have a tendency to wait and build the platform and make it perfect and only then try studying these kind of aspects, right? Whereas maybe we just need to come up with a mock-up, a system that's very limited in terms of functionality, but that does offer this engagement opportunity so that people can also already interact with it, and we can learn from that at the same time while we are further developing the simulation and the platform and the core.
And I think it would be interesting to even reach out to communities who already have this open mindset, not just technologically, but I mean, open source communities, but open activation communities, sharing resources. I think that's a different kind of social part of research that needs to kind of somehow find its way with and collaborate with the technological research. Okay, so we've got a few interesting areas. Okay, how to collaborate. Only one endpoint, I'm not catching that. What if we achieve climate targets? Oh, so take that as a given. That could be interesting. And get valid predictions. Okay, maybe we go on to the last question because it's already 3 o'clock. So now is the final question that has to do with bringing these proposals to life and helping Iphigenia, Theocles, and Peter bring these to life. And this is a question to our audience. Do you know of any initiative, technologies, or interested stakeholders stakeholders that would help propel these proposals forward. And just if you have an organization in mind that would be interested in DT Plus, if you have stakeholders that could use TwinSphere or access it, or kind of even regular everyday users, general public kind of groups of people that could be of interest, or if you know of open communities that could become Henry of the future. And even smaller groups. I mean, I understand municipalities, but maybe there's a group of people are just down the road where you live, you know? We can give it some thought. I mean, the interesting thing about all three proposals is that they have a different timeline of possible implementation, and that was the thinking behind the way that their prizes were structured. But all of them could start small today. Neighborhood groups. So maybe you could join your local municipality, and when someone takes their kid to school, and get in touch with parents and start discussing any aspects of the scenarios that we heard.
Maybe, Kostas, as a side note, not directly linked to the question, but there are many initiatives around destinationers that are ongoing. So keep a look also at Horizon programs. Some of them are not focusing on high TRL projects, but are really welcoming innovations. And I'm sure more events will be organized also by the DestinE use cases, by Kostas and his team, in order to move towards hackathons or meet stakeholders. So we invite you to stay connected to the joint website and to discover the platform as well.
Yes, please. And if you haven't done it yet, you can always register and be part of our online community. Now, this online community is going to be developed over the coming months into communities of practice. So I'm sure everyone will have a chance to find a bit more specific area of interest. Okay, there we go. Euro HCP free resources, HUA Earth Observation Team. So I want to thank you very much for your participation. Maybe if there's a closing remark by anyone, if Evgenia, Theoclis, Peter, before we end this event.
Well, I'm happy to say something. I just want to highlight that I thought this was a really interesting format for setting up this challenge. Setting a scene in 2050 makes you imagine a world that frees you a little bit of the constraints of like immediate feasibility. And I think that was really interesting about this challenge, and I liked it a lot. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And we're glad that you found your space in this challenge. Evgenia?
Yeah, I also thought that it was a very interesting challenge that made us think out of the box. So work is always work, but this was really enjoyable to think about because we also, like Peter, we wrote our story. So we got inspired by the challenge and wrote the inspirational story that then brought the technological solution. So this was interesting. Thanks a lot.
Great. Great. Thank you.
I would also like to point out something. Well, on top of what the other two successful proposals mentioned, I also thought that, well, perhaps this challenge was quite, well, a very, not just interesting, but it didn't just allow us to contribute Destination Earth, but to also implement our own abilities and perhaps help us perfect our writing and thinking, and generally not only just reading, but also collecting information and using it to imagine something of our own, right? So really helping us enrich our imagination, not just how writing a story would, but also using scientific information, combining both of those, not just creativity, perhaps almost artistic creativity, but also scientific. That was something that I really enjoyed about the challenge.
Okay, very much appreciated comment. Thank you. So I'd like to thank everyone. Alexis, if you want to have a closing remark before we...
No, thank you all. Thank you for the 3 winning proposals, of course, but also the other proposals, and Kostas and your team for having brought together this challenge. It was very refreshing, and we are looking forward to having solutions as such implemented in the DestinE platform in the near future.
Let's see. It's all up to us, and I want to thank you all, and I also want to thank everyone else who participated in this challenge. We had very interesting time in discussing and seeing all proposals. Very many congratulations to the 3 winning ideas. We will all be in touch. Be sure about that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.